I also discovered through my rereading of McLuhan in 2011 that there were three major influences on him: the artist, scientist, and of course Harold Innis. Before McLuhan came under the sway of Harold Innis, his focus had been on pop culture and advertising. But with Innis, who explored the impact of technologies on empires, McLuhan changed courses and began to explore communication. Innis did a brilliant job of explaining how writing influenced empires like the Roman Empire and the Mesopotamian empires and Egyptian empires. Innis believed that cultures that wrote on heavy surfaces were time-bound, were space-bound, and were very conservative with respect to time. He believed that cultures like the Greeks and the Romans that wrote on papyrus, a light material that could be carried around, had control over large spaces, but were constantly changing. They did not, were not conservative with respect to the traditions of their past. This influenced McLuhan. The first book that he wrote was under the influence of Innis' ideas, was Gutenberg Galaxy, in which he explored how the printing press had changed European culture. And the second book that he wrote, Understanding Media, explored how electricity changed European culture. Now, that was the influence of Innis. Influence of artists, he was very much influenced by the symbolist poets, by Wyndham Lewis, the modernists, Wyndham Lewis, the poet that wrote the cantos, oh my gosh, the Italian, Ezra Pound, T.S. Eliot, James Joyce. From them he learned to play with words, to squeeze the meaning out of the etymology of words, and also synesthesia, the idea of the influence of media on the senses, on the way we perceive things. Third influence was that of science, and from science he took the idea of the field concept, which emerges from electricity, in which interactions are nonlinear. McLuhan called this formal cause, but formal cause, which was a concept that Aristotle made use of. However, the way McLuhan used formal cause was much more complex, and in my opinion it paralleled the ideas of emergence theory. McLuhan said things like cause and effect happen simultaneously, and that effects can give rise to causes. So for instance, he said the telegraph, one of the effects of the telegraph was to be a cause for the telephone. And so this very much parallels emergence and complexity theory, where you have complex situations and new levels of order emerge. Well, that brings me up to date.